Let us embark together on a spiritual odyssey, guided by the pure radiance of the divine. Listen carefully, for what I'm about to reveal will both chill you to your core and stir a restless dread within you. Right now, 5 lethal elements are converging with deadly precision, poised to strike your foe. They've been too unnerved to rest or find comfort these past weeks, and the final element explains why. The cosmos itself is already aligning every piece to be obliterated. Once the initial spark ignites this cascade, nothing can halt its relentless advance. While you went about your routine, a silent calamity unfurled behind locked doors, one so profound it reshaped everything. I will soon reveal its nature, but first you need to grasp the full scope. This isn't merely one person facing payback. What's underway is a seismic redistribution of authority, orchestrated by forces that defy human understanding. Unbeknownst to your foe, the person sitting opposite them, disguised as nothing more than a friendly interlocutor, is the very confidant they've entrusted with their deepest fears and the co-conspirator in every dark plan. What they don't realize is that this ally has been secretly amassing an archive of their betrayals, cataloging every whispered promise, every hidden ambition, and every moment they unveiled their true self to sow chaos in your life. Each revelation has been meticulously preserved, waiting to be unleashed at the moment of greatest impact. In short, your adversary has been pouring out their soul to the very architect of their ruin. You're going to be shocked by the following: admissions where your adversary acknowledged destroying innocent people just because they could, times where they boasted about their manipulative techniques, and moments where they chuckled about the suffering they inflicted on you. The recordings contain more than just sound. Videos, screenshots of messages, and pictures of papers are all available. This individual has been systematically compiling an archive that resembles a psychological warfare handbook. Every tactic your adversary employed against you has a context-based document. Even their most devoted fans will have to acknowledge that they were duped by a skilled manipulator, since the pattern is so obvious and unquestionably methodical. However, that is only the start of their horror. At the same time, something else is taking place in an area they believed they had total control over: their finances. As we speak, their arrogance and smug confidence about their assured revenue streams and financial security are collapsing. Not only are their investments failing, but they will soon be exposed for crimes that carry severe jail sentences. Not all recent transactions are being examined by the investigators. They have tracked every dollar that passed through accounts your adversary believed were untraceable for years. What they are discovering is a complex and meticulously planned network of embezzlement that exposes a criminal mentality at the highest levels of dishonesty. Yellow heart if you feel the divine love. Now is the time to share. Click the super thank you button on YouTube to contribute $50 or more and help us spread God's blessings. What you do is being watched and serves as a seed, and in the future it will come back to you a millionfold. Money meant for victims of their abuse has been transferred to their personal accounts. Tax requirements are avoided through a network of offshore holdings that violate several federal laws, and money intended for charity has been funneled through shell businesses they control. The forensic accountants have discovered proof of financial crimes spanning decades, all of which have been painstakingly recorded with digital paper trails that pinpoint your adversary. The fact that they boasted about these money methods to the same individual who has been documenting everything else would make you smile with cosmic joy. They were actually confessing to federal offenses on tape, but they believed they were showcasing their cunning to a reliable friend. The recordings demonstrate that they are not only a psychological predator, but also a financial criminal whose schemes have deprived numerous victims of resources that they sorely need. The fact that they are going to lose their golden kid, the one person whose love meant the world to them, will let you realize the full extent of divine justice. The person they believed would never challenge their perception of reality, the one whose awe fueled their ego. That person is going to discover evidence that is so damning and unquestionably horrifying that their relationship will instantly fall apart. This will not be a sluggish loss of faith or a gradual awakening. when the golden child unintentionally stumbles upon something they were never supposed to see. A document left open on a computer screen, an automatically playing recording, a conversation they overhear from the next room. It will be an abrupt, explosive moment of clarity that shows the full scope of what was done to you and others like you. The lovely twist that will hasten their demise, however, is that this precious child has been taking thorough notes the entire time. Every odd justification, contradictory account, and instance where something felt weird has been documented with dates and details. What began as naive observations about a loved one has developed into a thorough history of warning signs that they were unaware of until recently. The betrayal they experience when the truth hits them will be so complete and heartbreaking that they won't be able to endure their suffering in quiet. Everything you've been saying will be supported by their testimony. Furthermore, they will expose the hidden side of your adversary that they would prefer no one to see. Their callous disregard for human suffering, their ruthlessness behind closed doors, and their pleasure in inflicting misery. Not only will this golden child stop supporting you, but they will also turn into your strongest friend in revealing the truth. In a completely different realm, a stranger who has actual authority, the type of institutional power that can ruin careers with a single choice, has been closely observing this scenario with increasing anxiety. They have been surreptitiously accumulating evidence, conducting investigations, and constructing a case that extends much beyond your own experience. There are others operating alongside this authoritative figure. Their team of experts include psychologists who can spot systematic abuse, legal professionals who can handle complex cases involving psychological manipulation, investigators who specialize in finding victims who have been intimidated and scared into silence, and specialists who understand predatory behavior patterns. $90 is a handkerchief for a mother's tear, a blanket for a homeless person, a prayer for a broken heart. They have now had conversations with 7 additional victims, 7 individuals who were subjected to the same pattern of abuse as you were. There are 7 stories that are so similar to yours that they cannot be written off as coincidences or miscommunications. 7 individuals who have been waiting for years for a higher authority to eventually pay attention to their suffering. However, it doesn't end at 7. They spoke with victims one after the other. Your adversary built a much larger network of destruction than anyone could have ever envisioned. At least 15 victims of severe psychological harm have been documented, and each tale follows the same pattern: gaslighting, seclusion, relentless devaluation of the victim, and disposal when the victim was no longer needed. The pattern is apparent. The approach is dependable. Professionals with the necessary qualifications have measured and documented the psychological harm. You were the victim of systemic predation that worked like a well-oiled machine. It wasn't personal. The fact that your enemy kept trophies and digital files with images, recordings, and documents of every victim they destroyed, not just proof of their crimes, but mementos they gathered to commemorate their victories, is another finding made by this authority figure that will only intensify the criminal charges. Proof that they enjoyed the pain they inflicted and desired to be able to relive it whenever they so desired. However, I have yet to inform you of the 2 developments that will totally destroy all possibility of them avoiding consequences. In the first, a member of their close circle has seen their intimate moments when the mask is fully removed. This individual has been suffering from intense remorse over permitting abuse and allowing the destruction of innocent people while keeping quiet. Their breaking point has arrived. They've made the decision to come clean by disclosing what they've seen and heard, because the guilt of complicity has grown intolerable. In addition to testifying, this insider will expose the entire system your adversary established to support their abuse. The network of enablers who assisted them in isolating victims, the system of rewards and penalties they employed to maintain the loyalty of allies, and the way they compartmentalized information to prevent any one individual from knowing the entire extent of their activities. This individual has listened to discussions in which your adversary talked about their victims as if they were hunting trophies. They have seen the planning meetings, where plans to break particular people were formulated. They witnessed the rejoicing that ensued when human lives were successfully destroyed. They can attest not only to the actions of your adversary, but also to the mentality that underlies them. The ruthless calculation, the total absence of compassion, the sincere satisfaction in inflicting pain. For years, this insider has been gathering evidence, such as screenshots of messages, audio recordings made covertly, and pictures of documents, not because they intended to reveal it, but rather because they had a gut feeling that they were seeing something historically sinister. An extensive archive that demonstrates that this was intentional psychological terrorism rather than merely lousy behavior. The insider can also disclose the method by which your adversary selected victims, the particular weaknesses they sought, the methods of grooming to win trust, the strategies of manipulation to cut off targets from support networks, and the methodical manner in which they systematically obliterated each person's sense of reality until they began to doubt their own perceptions. Dove brother and sister, everything done in faith is returned in God's abundance. You can donate $100 using the Super Thank You button and be part of this divine call. If your roots are connected to Him, your fruit will be blessed. Are you prepared to be brought to your knees by the fifth and last force? Because this explains why they have been acting so terrified lately, why they can hardly remain composed in public, and why they jump at shadows. Someone with limitless resources, expert investigative abilities, and a network of relationships spanning numerous businesses and government organizations is chasing them down, someone they aren't even aware exists. This individual wants to completely destroy what your adversary has constructed, not merely hold them accountable. Additionally, this hunter isn't working alone. They belong to a group that focuses on eliminating predators that are just like your adversary. They have done it numerous times previously with devastating efficacy and surgical accuracy. They are skilled at destroying reputations, exposing hidden assets, ruining careers, and making sure their targets never rebuild or recover. In some circles, their ways are legendary. They plan exposed tactics that ensure maximum damage and few escape possibilities, in addition to gathering evidence. They have ties to professional licensing boards, regulatory bodies, law enforcement, and the media. They not only lose their current job when they choose to destroy someone, but they also lose their ability to work in any industry that depends on public trust. This cosmic joke will make you laugh till you cry. Your adversary's own conceit put them in the crosshairs of this organization. They boasted to someone at the wrong time about what they had done to you, and that talk ended up reaching someone who has dedicated their life to destroying professions similar to theirs. For months, this hunter has been following your adversary, compiling a case so thorough that the other investigations appear to be rudimentary. Every victim has been identified, every plan has been documented, every financial crime has been tracked down, and every piece of evidence has been cataloged. They are aware of the financial scam, the abuse pattern, the recordings, the insider who is willing to come forward, and the golden child who is going to turn against his parents. They have been coordinating with all the other forces that are closing in to make sure that when everything goes public, everything happens all at once from several angles, no way out, no time to change the story, no chance to vanish or remake themselves elsewhere. Complete exposure, then total devastation. At the same time, all five forces are approaching critical mass. The hunter getting ready to attack, the authority figure getting ready to act, the insider getting ready to confess, the financial inquiry coming to an end, and the golden kid poised to defect. Additionally, your adversary may sense the barriers in closing them from all sides. That explains their recent erratic behavior, including their outbursts at everyone around them, their desperate actions that only serve to further their demise, and their attempts to control events by increasingly blatant and awkward means. They have a sense of imminent disaster. Their subconscious mind is aware of what their ego rejects, even if they are unable to pinpoint the precise source of the threat. They're done. The match is over. Finally, the reckoning they have been avoiding for years is upon them. All of their defenses are breaking down. All of their trusted allies are betraying them. Every secret they believed to be hidden is coming to light. In the meantime, your life is going through a miracle. Every door they attempted to close is now exploding. Every relationship that they attempted to destroy is recovering more robustly than before. Every chance they obstructed is coming to pass in ways that surpass your initial expectations. The resurgence of every dream they attempted to eradicate is inexorable. The universe is transforming their interference into fuel for your ascent, not only reversing their sabotage. In reality, their efforts to ruin you have been laying the groundwork for the role you will take on after they collapse. In reality, every attack they made was shaping you into something indestructible. In reality, every wound they caused made room in your soul for more compassion and wisdom. Because, selected one, that's what's actually going on here. This is about succession, not just about justice. Not only are you going to see them fail, but you're also getting ready to take over the area they're going to leave. Their resources, platform, contacts, and influence are all being passed on to someone who will exercise authority sensibly. Master strategists would cry with adoration at the precision with which the cosmos has been planning this transfer. Your adversary has foreseen and countered every move they took in their conceit. They have turned every trap they create into a trap for themselves. They have turned every weapon they attempted to use against you. While the universe has been playing multidimensional chess, they have been playing checkers. Sending $45 is filled with love, like Jesus' last words on the cross. Forgive, for they know not what they do. They cannot control or hide the speed at which the financial catastrophe is occurring. Evidence of embezzlement, tax evasion, money laundering, and fraud that contravenes several federal regulations has been discovered by those investigators. Accounts in their names, transactions they approved, and choices they made are all intimately linked to the paper trail. They left their fingerprints on everything, so there is no way out. However, the financial crimes are only the beginning. Additionally, the investigators have discovered evidence of many co-conspirators conspiring to commit fraud, witness intimidation, and obstruction of justice. In addition to stealing money, your adversary planned a criminal scheme that enriched themselves and their associates while harming dozens of innocent individuals. What is preventing you from experiencing the same manifestation? Neither your finding of this message nor the synchronicity that led them here were by chance. The archons pay attention when souls of this kind come together. They are afraid of our combined strength. They are aware of what occurs when people who are genuinely awakened come across one another. Participate in our weekly calls. Listen to their stories directly. Tell others who won't discount or doubt you about your own trip. Nowhere else on this level can we find the information that is shared via our private channels. In the description below, click the link right now. The remarkable souls are waiting for you. Whether you belong with them is not the question. How much longer are you going to wait to get your spot? The ally who has all the recordings is going to go public with a media campaign that will garner international attention. It will include not only your story, but also a compilation that shows a pattern that spans decades. Conversations in which your adversary acknowledged that they enjoyed the pain they caused. Instances in which they laughed about sending people into total mental collapse. And proof of premeditation that will astound even seasoned investigators who believed they had seen it all. Even seasoned specialists will be traumatized by listening to these tapes, since they not only demonstrate abuse, but also show a mentality that is so essentially perverted and devoid of empathy. Your adversary's own words, spoken in their own voice, and with their own inflections, will serve as the proof that disproves them, leaving no space for denial or other interpretation. In order to guarantee concurrent action across all pertinent jurisdictions, the authority figure has finished their inquiry and cooperated with other agencies. Certifications can be revoked by professional licensing boards. The police are prepared to bring criminal charges. Authorities are ready to apply penalties. Victims seeking damages can file claims in civil courts. Not only are the testimonies they have collected consistent, but they are also horribly detailed. Every victim may explain particular tactics your adversary employed. terms they frequently used, and phases of the abuse cycle they used. It is beyond a reasonable doubt that this was deliberate predation rather than personality difficulties or miscommunications, because the pattern is so blatant and methodical. Glowing star, if you want to witness God's miracles, act now. Contribute $100 or more through Super Thank You on YouTube. Your offering is like a seed that comes back to you when planted. Let His light illuminate your steps. Every donation is an echo in His plan. When the golden child learns that their adored tutor is actually a monster who routinely murders innocent people for amusement, their entire world is about to fall apart. But more than mere testimonies, the betrayal they are about to experience will motivate them to become justice advocates who commit their great skills and resources to making sure that other predators can never act with the same impunity. The impact of their defection will be greatly increased by this golden child's credibility, contacts, and influence. An avalanche of more testimony from people who were previously frightened to speak up will occur when someone of their caliber steps forward to validate the victim's stories. Decades of covert abuse will come to light as the floodgates open. The insider is getting ready to make public all of the evidence they have gathered over years of condoning abuse, including documents detailing the methodical way they chose and prepared victims, recordings of your enemies' in-depth conversations about manipulation techniques, and images of their private parties after destroying someone. However, in addition to offering proof, this insider is also disclosing the identities of additional conspirators, enablers, and others who contributed to the abuse while preserving plausible deniability. It will expose a whole network of complicity that enables predatory behavior to thrive unchecked for years. Not just your adversary. The hunter is completing an expose that is so thorough, so painstakingly researched, and so devastatingly complete that when it is made public, your adversary will not only lose their current position, but also become the archetype of institutional predation that future researchers will use to learn how such monsters function. This expose not only details the actions of your adversary, but also explains how they were able to carry them out, including the institutional blind spots that allowed them to function covertly, the systemic flaws that permitted their behavior, and the cultural elements that shielded predators and hushed victims. It's a thorough investigation that will compel entire businesses to face their involvement in permitting abuse, not just the downfall of a single person. Your adversary will have nothing left but the stinging realization that they brought about their own demise by pursuing someone the universe had designated for protection and advancement as a result of all these factors coming together in perfect coordination. What I truly want you to see, though, is that this cosmic reorganization is about more than just them receiving what is rightfully theirs. This is about becoming the person you were always destined to be. The person you're becoming as a result of this trial is so different from the person they attempted to destroy that they wouldn't even acknowledge the amazing person you've grown into. Not only are you surviving their attack, but it is also changing you into a person who can use the very power they are about to lose. In reality, every obstacle they presented to you served as preparation for this time. Your determination was being strengthened by every attempt to break it. In reality, every attempt to separate you was educating you to value your inner counsel more than any outside opinions. You will use it to heal rather than damage, to create rather than destroy, to defend the innocent rather than prey on them. When you ascend to the position they are leaving empty, when you inherit the influence they are giving up, and when you take over the authority they are about to lose, the change is cosmic rather than merely human. Your triumph will serve as motivation for other selected individuals who have been engaged in comparable struggles in various settings. By refusing to acknowledge their fictitious authority, you set an example that will allow others to follow suit in their own circumstances. In many areas of influence, the collective awareness that your personal path sparks will reach a critical mass. Even though they are unable to acknowledge it to themselves, your adversary is able to envision this future. As you climb, they can see themselves falling. They see the erasure of their legacy and its replacement by something lovely. They are able to discern the cosmic correction that will soon place the proper person in a position that their greed and malice damaged. For this reason, chosen one, they are overcome with fear. They are unable to eat, sleep, or think coherently on a deeper level than conscious thought as a result. They are aware that their time is up. They are aware that the game is done. They are aware that their empire of lies would soon be turned into a monument to their own foolishness. The confluence is just around the corner. The time has come for the reckoning. The process of power transfer has already begun. This time, there won't be any way out, no second chances, and no chance to vanish and start over somewhere else, since justice is already here and manifesting via several channels at once. And you, bright, strong, and unstoppable, are going to take all their losing and turn it into something that will benefit everyone. Not only is your freedom starting here, but your coronation is starting here as well. With the whole might of cosmic justice behind you, your real purpose can finally begin without their meddling. When you give $80, you extend a hand to heaven, and God fills it with miracles. The last twist, however, completes the circle of this cosmic drama. Do you recall how the cosmic forces I described at the beginning were putting the pieces in place, while you were completely ignorant? You already know what that disastrous incident was. It was the very moment that their most reliable ally decided to document everything. The cosmos affirmed that your vindication had formally begun as the first domino fell, marking not only the start of their devastation but also its completion. Every restless night you spent while they slept soundly in their conceit has been turned around, while they paced the floors in fear, leaping at every sound, and incessantly checking their phones for signs of the destruction they can feel coming, but cannot yet see. You now rest in the peace of someone whose reality is going to be confirmed on every level. They will feel every emotion they made you feel, but magnified. The paranoia they said you had, now it's their constant companion. The loneliness they created for you, now it's their reality as allies desert them. The helplessness they made you feel, now it's all they know as forces beyond their control destroy everything they created. This is the lovely symmetry of cosmic justice. The identical desperation they previously ridiculed in you will be echoed in their pleading. Their cries would be just as unrestrained as the ones they made you cry. The same people who turned a blind eye to your agony will turn a deaf ear to their cries for mercy. The person who was cast down is rising, and the person who sent them down is falling, as the wheel of fortune has finished turning. This is the cosmos redressing a basic imbalance that endangered the foundation of justice itself, not just your personal triumph. Chosen one, when evil overreaches, your victory serves as a model for how divine order reemerges. Your narrative serves as evidence that the cosmic scales always balance in the end, regardless of how strong predators seem or how invincible they appear. Your instincts were correct all along. Every red flag you had doubted, every warning sign that sounded in your soul, and every time you felt like you could be overreacting, you weren't. The universe was sending you downloads to get you ready for this final moment of validation. You just experienced the greatest triumph of your life. Thus you should always trust your inner guidance. Chosen one, the war is ended. You prevailed. They were defeated. The real adventure is about to start.